Hello everybody, and welcome to the Efteling, and welcome to a new series on this YouTube page, Eftelhistory. We'll take you through the wonderful history of this most amazing park through probably a very long series of videos. So welcome to the first. So long-time viewers might recognize the Efteling from a video I did a bit ago. I did a video about a 3-day vacation I had in the Efteling together with my mom. It was an hour-long vlog. It was fun. It wasn't the first time I visited the Efteling, and it definitely wasn't the last. And these days I have a year pass and can come to this park whenever I want. Now, I'm not the first one to came up with the idea to make a history series about the Efteling. I mean, even the Efteling themselves did it in a video series on their YouTube a while ago. But all those informations and most of those videos is in Dutch, which, understandable, it's a Dutch amusement park. But since the Efteling is becoming more international every year, I think it's more than obvious to also explain the history of the Efteling in a more international way in English. So that's what this series will be. I'm gonna take you through the timeline and explain every facet and detail what happened in the Efteling to slowly make it build into the park that it is today. With all of that, today we'll be talking about the pre-history of the park. What all happened before the Efteling opened. Because even if the Efteling themselves say they opened on the 31st of May 1952, there was a park before that. So let's go back to before the Efteling was even called the Efteling. Let's go to 1933. During that time, it didn't go well economically in the Netherlands, and there weren't many places for recreation, especially not for children and families. In come 3 men: Pastor Franciscus de Klein, Chaplain Emil Rita, and President of the local football club, Jacques Schmidt. These 3 men come up with a plan to make a sports park in the municipality of Loon-op-Zand, near the village of Kaatsheuvel. And so, on 19 May 1935, opens the RK Sport and Wandelpark, or Sports and Hiking Park in English. There's a football field, 2 practice fields, play fields. A year later, a playground was added with a carousel, the highest slide in the Netherlands at that time, a zip line, pony track, and even in 1937, a cycling track in the sand was added. So, after World War II, the city council decided to focus more on recreation, to attract more tourism and be less independent on the local shoe industry. Speaking about shoes, in July 1949 there was an exhibition held inside the park. That was called De Schoen, or The Shoe. And this turned out to be a big success. So plans were made to make the park a big sports, recreation and nature park, with hills and big pools. And so, on the 25th of May 1950, the Efteling Nature Park Foundation was founded, with then Major Reinier van der Heijden as its president. And the Efteling, that would be a name that would stick around till this day. And then, on the 11th of May 1951, the new Efteling opened with a big playground and a new catering pavilion called het Theehuis, or the Tea House in English. And part of these do still exist. Here on the Anton Pieck Square, you can see all parts still of that playground. And on the other side, The tea house these days is called Het Witte Paard, or the White Horse. But both of these are deserving of their own videos, because they both have a big history, and yeah, they deserve their own videos about that. So that's their part in the prehistory of the Efteling. So let's continue with a little bit of more history. So, after that, Van der Heijden, who is still president of the Efteling Foundation at the time, is looking for ways to make the Efteling better and attract even more people. So he brings in his brother-in-law, cinematographer Peter Reinders. Meanwhile, Van der Heiden's wife is inspired with an idea for a fairy tale garden. She is inspired by a temporary garden that was made by Philips in the city of Eindhoven. So Reinders, who actually works at Philips, is started to make an idea to make a permanent 3D version of the fairy tale garden in the Efteling. And for this he needs some more inspiration, he needs another man. So Reinders brings in the third man who, beside Van der Heijden and Reinders, made the Efteling what it is today. And this is probably the most well-known of the three, at least in the Netherlands, Anton Pieck. So, Anton Pieck was a famous illustrator of fairy tale books at the time. So he was a logical man to bring in for your fairy tale garden. So Pieck is called by Reinders to design 10 fairy tales for their fairy tale forest. But Pieck is skeptical at first. He thinks they won't go by his design very well and that it will probably be cheaply made. But Reinders reassures Pieck that that won't be the deal, and Pieck starts designing. And with these 10 fairy tales, the famous fairy tale forest of the Efteling opened on the 31st of May 1952. And that made it the official opening of amusement park, the Efteling. Now, these 10 fairy tales were Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, the Frog Prince, the Chinese Nightingale, the Six Servants, Mother Hull, and then some fairy tales the Efteling's own imagination, namely the Magic Clock and the Naughty Princess. And then there were two that were just representations of wider known fairy tale creatures, namely the gnome Kleine Boodschap, or Little Errand in English, and the gnome-size mushroom village sparkle. And these 10 attractions in the forest made up the beginning of the fairy tale forest, and with that the beginning of the whole wide Efteling. And with that, this will be the end of this video, because all 10 of those fairy tales deserve their own video. So, how I'm gonna do this? I'm not just gonna talk about how they were in the beginning, but I'll talk about how they were made, their entire history, and what changed over the years until the day I make the video. And I'm gonna do this with every fairy tale, every attraction, every little thing that has been added. Trying to do it chronologically probably won't always be that way, but I'll do my best with it. And with that, you'll slowly see more and more things being added to the park and making it what it is today. And I am looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of videos, but this is a way that I can share my love for the Efteling with you guys. And that makes me happy to make these videos, though that's what makes it fun. So, join me next time when we'll tackle our first fairy tale of one of the 10 that started it. See you next time, folks, and if you come to the Efteling and see me, say hi. Bye bye.